Hey, what's up guys? Christian over at Amplifier Car Stereo. Today we're in a 2021 Volkswagen Atlas, and I'm going to show you how to install our plug-and-play amplifier. The amplifier actually plugs in directly behind the radio. For you guys that don't know, your radio is actually right here in the glove box. That's the display, and the display has cables that run to the radio. The brain, the electronics, everything's here. So this amplifier plugs in behind it. What it does is that it breaks out the speaker wire, so it grabs a signal from that radio in the glove box, amplifies it, and then spits it out to your factory speakers or aftermarket speakers directly from the back of the radio without cutting a single wire. And fortunately, the power wires behind the radio are thick enough to power our amplifier as well. So sit tight and we'll show you how to install it. Alright guys, so the first part of the install is moving this little panel. We're going to use my backup camera only because I'm not moving the main rig. So all you got to do is stick your, sometimes they have a cut, doesn't have a cut. So stick your panel tool in there. All right. There should be 3 pops. This is a PPT 3. It comes in a set of 5. PPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can buy that on our website. All right. These tools are plastic, and they're made out of a great plastic that doesn't scratch your dashboard, which is pretty important. Not all plastics are made the same. Oh, there you go. All right, so these are 1, 2, and 3 poppers. If you see that right there, all right, and they go into these metal clips. All right, now we're back to the other side. 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, Christian over at Amplifier Car Stereo, and we're just talking shit. All right guys, so next part of the install is to remove the 2 screws at the bottom of the glove box. I'm sitting here with my iPhone recording this on the bottom, and I'm going to put it on the screen only because that's the easiest way to do it. All right, so if you look over here, there is 1 screw. It's a T20 Torx. Oops. Right, there goes 1. And now we're going to go all the way to the other side and take out the second one. There it is. And that part's done. Alright guys, so next part of the install is to remove the 2 screws at the bottom of the glove box. I'm sitting here with my iPhone recording this on the bottom, and I'm going to put it on the screen only because that's the easiest way to do it. Alright, so if you look over here, there is 1 screw. It's a T20 Torx. Oops. Right, there goes 1. And now we're going to go all the way to the other side and take out the second one. There it is. And that part's done. Alright guys, so next part is dropping the glove box door. It's easy to do but hard to show, so let's see how this goes. Alright, so first thing you do is open the door. Alright, now if you look back here in the corner, there is like a little plastic piece you can push up. So if you push up on that, alright, you see how the glove box kind of drops? So there's a thing in the glove box, and then when you push that up, it actually releases. So let's do that same thing on the other side. So grab 2 fingers. See if I can do this. It's kind of hard. There you go. All right, and then that's that. All right, so you see these 2 little things? You can stop filming because now the top's gonna pick up. Do you see these 2 little things? These 2 little things are basically wedged behind the piece you're pushing, and then once you push, it releases. All right, there's also a little bar on the side. Don't worry about that. That bar always falls. I'll show you later in a different video, how to fix all that. All right, so what's going to happen is this bar is going to fall on you every single time. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to grab the side that has the grooves, put it up against the car. Also, look at this thing, because this little thing might fall out on you. The thing in the middle, see how it spins? It's free. All right, make sure it's in there. So you're going to push this in here. All right, you're good. Then what you're going to do is going to bring it out as far as you can. You're going to come over here, pull up the glove box. Oops, let me Move over a little. Okay. Sorry, it's hard to do this without looking at it. All right, so you're gonna find the hole. All right, the bigger, so one side of the hole is bigger, and then you're gonna pull it towards the small side. It's gonna lock. That's it. Push everything back into place, and now you're good. Okay. So that's how you're gonna put the glove box back after that thing falls apart on you. All right, guys. Now that we got the glove box door out of the way, next thing we're going to do is take out the radio. So this is an Enfig RRK2 radio removal keys. Let's grab a fresh one. This thing. So what ends up happening is sometimes you gotta mess with the keys. But those are. Let's grab 2 fresh ones. Of course, I grabbed fresh ones for the video, and then my toolbox ones are the ones that make the first appearance. So these are RRK2 radio removal keys. This is sold in a set of 2, and RRK4 is a set of 4. For this job, you only need 2, but if you're gonna remove like your radio or your screen or something, I don't know if this screen requires them, but some of the screens require 4 keys. So they're cheap. You may want to get an extra 2 while you get this one. So first thing you do is, if you look, the notch always goes towards the center. So notch face on the left side, notch faces to the right. You're gonna put them in until you hear a click. All right. On the right side, you're gonna put them in with the notch facing to the left. All right. Then you can put a little bit of outward pressure, and it slides right out. Do yourself a favor and push in over here and take the key out. So on the side, you just push in on the spring. All right, and the key comes out. You just don't want the keys to do damage or anything. All right, so as soon as you do that, you pull down. Keep pulling. There you go. All right, so let's turn this around. All right, so this right here, pull up. All right, and then once you pull it up, you push back, and it's the lock. It acts like a lever. Push it back in when you're done. This one's the same thing. Oh, my fingers are in the way. So this one, push up. Once you get that up, it acts as a lever, release and clip. You push there, and it comes right up. These are a little more complicated. So these right here, you push in, but they're really, really tight. So I recommend you going with a panel tool. But the problem is, you got to make sure they're released. All right, because if you go on the panel tool, you can break something. At the same time you're pushing. All right. See, I'm not sure they're released, so I'm gonna wiggle. What you can also do, if you have like a flathead screwdriver in there, put it in there and wedge it a little bit. Obviously, I'm leaning in this driver's seat, reaching over, so it's making this a little bit harder. I'm trying not to cut the video, because every idiot in the world can cut the video. I want to show you. Watch me struggling with these things, because they're annoying to pull out. Alright, so you see how now it's pushed in? That lets me know that the release tab in the middle is past it. So I bet you now it becomes easier to take out. Try the radio keys as a wedge. Whoops, I got it. Alright, so the radio keys. Alright, perfect. So I see how put the radio keys in. So if you had a little flathead screwdriver, makes your job easier. Do the same thing with this one. Oh. See how that one just came out? So put it. Pushed it in, grabbed it, pulled, and it came out. All right, and the last part is the quad lock. This is very easy, actually. What you can do over here is you're gonna squeeze here, So make sure you squeeze. Pulls up. Once it pulls up a little bit, it's unlocked. So when it's unlocked, you just push and it slides out. All right, boom. All right, so this is out. So next thing I'm going to show you right now is over here. See how these power wires are thick? This is power for the amplifier. So these are thick enough to power your factory amplifier, which is fantastic. I mean, the amplifier we're doing. So basically, once you use the amplifier, you're not using the amplifier inside the radio that much. So it's this. These are perfect. We've done tons of installs in the Tiguan, the Atlas, the Jetta, and they all work perfect. All right, so let's come back and show you how to drop the entire glove box. All right, for the next part of this install, I'm going to show you the screw I'm about to take out. I'm not going to show you me taking it out, only because it really is a pain to get back there. Mike, give me some light.
Light?
Yeah.
And with the...
Yep. All right, so in the back of the radio, directly dead center, there is a T20 torque screw that has to be removed. Now you're going to take out this screw, but because of the way the wiring works, when you go to put everything back, this screw is not going to be able to go back in, because technically you kind of have to push in the radio and the harness and everything. It makes it difficult to push in. If you can get it in, more power to you, but usually we leave this screw out. Okay. All right, guys, so next part is to remove the 3 screws pictured in the picture below. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take the 2 outside ones first, because you take the outside ones first, the middle one holds everything together. All right, so I'm not even looking, I can just feel them. Of course I'm talking, it makes it harder. All right, there's one. I'm gonna reach over here and get this one. Two. And then what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna close the glove box a little bit. Oh, tripod's in the way. There you go. And the tripod's hitting again. So only because when the glove box drops, and obviously make sure your radio isn't under the glove box, because if the glove box lands on it, you're gonna scratch the front of the glove box. Okay, trying to do too much here. Hey, actually, let me let Mike hold that. Oh, put it down. Yep. Always a lot easier if you're staring at the screw. All right, you can do that, and then come up here. And then, now the one thing you got to be careful with, push this back in here, all right, is there's a light over here. So you got to unplug the light. So I'm going to show you after I unplug it. See? Oh. Also, the harnesses are clipped into here. So the radio harnesses, you got to unclip that. And you're going to unclip here. Make sure you clip these back in when you install everything. Right? And that's it. Everything drops. Am I missing something? I'm missing something. Oh, there's another connector in the back. So that connector is attached to the drop thing, and that tells the glove box you're open. Let me go around and disconnect that one. That one right now. Well, I don't know if that recorded everything. We'll find out. All right, guys. So this one over here has to be disconnected. This is actually the connector for that little thing that the stick slid into. This one, to be honest with you, grab a pair of pliers. This is a cutter, and don't do what I'm doing. But grab a pair of pliers and pull it up by the connector. Okay? That's it. So once that's done, you can pull. Oh, and there's a secondary light down at the bottom that squeezes just like the first light. All right. So you see, you just squeeze. And then that comes out. All right, so recap. There's 2 lights and 1 sensor on the right. The sensor on the right tells the car the glove box is open, so that way the light inside the glove box turns on. All right, guys, this is our I don't know what it's called. It's a Euro 16 harness power, so it has power for an amplifier. Currently, we don't sell this separately. Eventually, we're going to sell this harness. So let me set that back. We sell this harness without the power wires hanging out of it. So you can buy this harness from us with the breakout for the speakers. But because we know some person is going to not know better and plug in a overpowered amplifier and fry their radio, we don't sell this to you like this. Eventually, we will sell you. We're currently having made. So the amplifier we're installing right now, we actually grabbed the harness out of the amplifier and we put the connectors on it. We're actually manufacturing the harness, so we can sell you if you're outside of the United States, because unfortunately we can't ship the amplifier outside the United States. So if you're outside the United States, we can sell you this harness with the amplifier harness, and you can buy the amplifier locally in your country and be good to go. All right. So this side plugs into this harness. All right. So this is the radio harness. So just match them up. This goes in here. Bada boom, bada bang. Okay. This obviously plugs into the back of the radio. This powers the amplifier, and this is your breakout harness for speakers in and out. Let me go get the amplifier and I'll show you how this all plugs in. All right, guys. So this is the amp we're installing in this car. If you take a look, this is the one side of the amp with the power. All right. And then on the other side, we have the inputs. So this comes out of the radio, gets put into the amplifier. Amplifier amplifies it. Oh, I didn't mention it, but this amplifier has a built-in DSP processor. So what it does is that it actually reads your speakers and it actually makes them sound better. I'm not going to cover how you program all this in this video. I'm going to do one programming video for all cars, so that way I don't have to do this 1,000 times. But check that out. Check out for the link. Look for the link to the programming, because if you look at this amplifier, it has a bunch of dip switches and buttons. So when you're done installing this, you actually have to set the gains. The gains is easy. You push the button and then you turn. Once the light comes on, that means you're distorting, so you cut back, and that's how you set your gain. And then the dip switch is a bunch of other stuff, and then it comes with a microphone. You plug in the microphone, and what it does is the microphone actually goes in the middle of your car, and it listens to all the speakers. You play one of their pre-recorded soundtracks, and the soundtrack, the amplifier listens to the music and says, this speaker sounds like this speaker sounds like that, let's change this, let's change that, and it makes everything sound much better. It's kind of crazy the way it works automatically built into here. Usually you have to buy a bunch of expensive equipment to do that. This is all built into the amplifier. All right, so this installation is a little hard. This loose blue wire, so full disclosure, this is an old amplifier. This has already been in this car for probably 2 years now. In our current harnesses, this blue wire is pinned into here. On this old harness, it's just floating around. All right, so you're gonna grab the harnesses from down here. All right, now there's 2 brown connectors. Unless you plug them into themselves, the brown connectors, you can't plug them in backwards, so there's no mistakes there. Boom. That plugs into that, and that plugs into that. All right, so just make sure you're plugging amp to harness and harness to amp, because that's the only way you can mess that up. Now over here, we have the power wires coming off the back of the radio. All right, these wires are a little thick. We've noticed how thick they are. In the next version, we're actually making them, this is 12 gauge. We're making them 14 gauge, I believe, so a little bit smaller. All right, and then push this in, and that's the power. Now, this amplifier has a setting called auto turn on. So you're gonna put it 12 volts or DC. If you put it to 12 volts, that means it's looking for the blue wire. If you put it to auto, once you turn on the radio, a little bit of voltage goes through the speakers and it automatically turns on, so you don't have to do anything else. All right, so that's it. The installation as far as wiring, which is what you guys are mostly worried about, is all done. Now we're going to show you how to zip tie this thing to a harness back there, and then we'll put the car back together. All right guys, so next step is going to be to program the amplifier. Like I said, you're going to have to set the gain. Gains on this one are set to 50%. I know you can't see that, it's out of focus, but I set to 50%, and then do all the settings. You can also download a bunch of audio files from the Kicker website, and then you're going to run the EQ thing. And make sure you do that. Don't just install, and just, you gotta make sure you do that. That's part of the install. I'm skipping that on this because I'm doing one video for the EQ for all cars, because it's the same on all cars. All right, now what I did now here is I prepped this with zip ties. All right, so make sure we have long zip ties. All right, you see they go front and back, and then make sure they do not go over the connector. Make sure they go under the connector, because if you go over the connector when you put the zip tie in, let me see if I can get some light in here for that. See, if you go over the connector, what you're going to end up doing, you can't see that anyway, just make sure you don't go over the connector, because what's going to happen is that when you clamp down, you're going to put pressure on that and you might break the connector. So going under them is the best way to go. If you look back here, this is the big metal harness. You can't go, technically you can go behind the big metal bracket, but this harness is very, very thick. All right, so I'm going to zip tie right to the harness. So make sure none of the wires are in the way. Okay, and you're just going to lay the amplifier on the harness. All right, this amplifier weighs nothing, so it's not going to cause any damage. The amplifier doesn't have any sharp edges, so it's not going to cut through the harness. This will be fine. We initially had it zip tied up high to the metal part of the bracket and then the bottom of the harness. What ended up happening though is that we saw the amplifier had a little bit of wear from where it was rubbing against the metal bracket. So this time we decided to use just the harness. So there we go. There it goes. Oof. That was a lot harder than it's supposed to be. Just because I'm trying to do it one-handed, that's why. All right, so I'm gonna go in there and tighten that up. I'm gonna move the camera. So, but when you're done, you want the amplifier hanging on the right, Oh, you know what? If you come down here. Oh, so this little panel on the bottom comes right off. It's probably gonna make your life a lot easier if you reach from the bottom. Look at that. Super easy reaching it from the bottom. All right, now we're gonna make them snug and we're gonna cut off the excess and we're gonna come back and show you how to put the glove box back up. All right, so now I'm gonna try to show you how to put everything back together. This is not as hard as the video is gonna make it out to look like. The problem is that I'm in the driver's seat and Mike's kind of holding the glove box up. Now, usually I would be sitting on the passenger seat and putting everything back in this piece of cake, but and the glove box would be on my legs. But the problem is that the camera's there, so I can't do it that way today. All right, let's give this a shot. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, get the cables out of the way. Then we're gonna go down here, we're gonna plug in this little one, bring the glove box down. So first thing you're gonna do, can you, not yet, just keep going down. Yeah, there we go. It's hard with two people. All right, so that's in there. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna give me those cables that were hanging. All right, push those cables, push the glove box in, push it like up this way. See if I would. All right, now we're gonna clip these up here where they belong. I'm gonna push down. All right, now this gets complicated because you want to get this out of the way, and then this one sticks out. And then there's also one more wire hanging out. Where is it? So there's one wire that comes out with these. It's this one. Forgot what that is. So that goes, you gotta make sure that doesn't get lost in the mix. All right, so actually, you know what? This gets plugged back in here too. Where is it? Just gotta find the opening. There it goes. This gets plugged back in there too because you still need that harness for that yellow wire. I think that's either USB. That's the one. My head's on the way now. All right, this goes in here. All right, now we got to plug in that light over there. Oh, don't forget, you got to plug in the sensor. You got that?
If I could see the
sensor, probably would have been the second thing you should have plugged in.
Can't see it. Oh wait, I think that's not it. Where's the wire? Here it is.
Got it. All right, the light goes back in. Beautiful. All right, now you got to be careful with this because open it up. You want everything to come out, but you also got to have room to push everything up. I can't do nothing from here. There it goes. No, you got the back is.
I'm just trying to hold the weight for you.
No,
Which way are we going?
No. There's something hitting in the back. Let me go around this side. Hold on. Good. I'm good. I got it. So most likely make sure this thing goes back in there because You're gonna hate yourself if you put everything back together and it's floating around. There it goes. All right. So first thing you're gonna do is gonna put the center screw back in here. Because just one screw will hold everything up. Right. Now that we've done that, before you put the rest of the screws back on, you're going to want to slide in the radio to make sure it slides in. So notch is always facing down. We're going to start with the antennas first. So we got the yellow first. Make sure you don't put too much bend on them. All right, like I'm putting a little bit of bend to show you, but in real life, you don't want to bend it this way as much as I do. All right, make sure you lock these down, the two that have locks, and then the main quad lock adapter. Make sure which way is which. All right. So you're gonna open it up, squeeze, I need to help it out a little bit. There it goes. Whoa. Just started wearing glasses. I'm not 100% sure how to work them yet. There it goes. Not sure why my fingers are tired from doing the install. Alright, so the quad lock connector goes towards the bottom. You're going to slide that in here. That's going to push in. And then you're going to lock it in by pushing. Okay? Now you're going to slowly push this in. Make sure it locks. Alright, so this glove box gave me a little bit of problem going in. I just figured out exactly where the problem is. Alright, when you push in here and you look over here, alright, this can't be flush. See how this is deep? The bottom has to be deep too. Alright, so when you push, you got to have even gap throughout this entire thing over here. Because what happens is, I kept looking over here saying it was flush. But then, when I went to put everything back together and I closed the door, it wasn't flush, because this depthness over here has to be the same depth, well, pretty much. This is a little bit deeper up high. No, actually, when you push, it's the same depth. So that's the problem. The problem is, because this glove box just gave me a problem. So I would put in the 3 top screws, and the 2 bottom screws weren't lined up. I did it twice, trying to figure out what was going on. What happens is that when you install, it's a little bit different than videotaping, because when you videotape, you got to make sure everything's perfect for the video. Alright, so I'll put one up top and then I'm going to go to the bottom ones. There you go. Oops. Slippery slip. Make sure you hear that noise. Whoa. There you go. That lets you know it's in there, right? On this end, on this end, I just closed. Beautiful. All right, so now you put the stick back in, you put the 2 screws back in, and we're done. All right, I'm gonna end this here only because I feel this video went a little bit long. Check out our website for this amplifier. We also have the plug and play harness by itself without power if you're installing a different amplifier. You know, a lot of you guys are doing a 5-channel with a processor, which is fine. We actually recommend you do the Kicker 500 and you also do the Kicker 200.4, which is what we're doing. They both have built-in processors, but we just say that for space saving. But you know, if you want to put a big amp under the seat, nothing wrong with that either. And we also eventually, if you're, unfortunately we can't ship Kickers amplifiers outside of the United States. So if you live outside the United States, look out for we're gonna have this plug and play harness with the power and also with the wires for the Kicker amplifier. We're gonna sell it as a kit, and you can buy that from our website, and we can ship that worldwide. And that's about it. If you're local to New Jersey, give us a call. We can do an install for you. And that's it. If you're a shop, we do wholesale accounts, guys. This is a no-brainer. If you own a dealership, this is a no-brainer. Basically, you drop a glove box, plug and play amp. I mean, if you're a professional, you can do. If you work at a dealership, you can probably do this in 10 minutes without the EQ part. So, yeah, if you're a shop, there's a lot of money to be made in this because it's a. If you're experienced with cars, it's an easy install. And even if you're at home and you've never done this before, you can see what I just did. It's an easy install. That's it. My name is Christian, nfitcarstereo.com. Thank you so much for watching.